Hey, and welcome to today's conversation. I'm your host, Deidre Sirianni, and today I really want to do a bit of an overview of your 2025. And I'm going to be hosting a workshop covering more of this in January, as well as some other things that are going to be coming up on the calendar. So keep your eyes open and your ears open for being attuned to when these are happening, because you are going to want to be a part of them. So let's talk a little bit about 2025 and your wins, a bit of an overview of your year. A theme that I've had so much of from community, from friends, is I've heard this overall theme of 2025 has been like a collapse, has been really challenging, has been a year where things just have not been working the way maybe you have wanted them to. If this is you, this is going to be a great conversation to learn more about what's been going on in 2025 for you and how to shift for 2026. Or maybe this isn't for you. And what I mean this isn't for you, as in not that this conversation isn't for you, but that maybe 2025 was a really great year for you. And there can be different reasons for that. So the other day I was a part of a podcasting group I'm in, one that is all about developing, growing your podcast and, hitting certain ranks globally, which I'm excited to talk a little bit about as we continue on in this conversation, because we've definitely had some incredible wins this year in 2025 with this show. And it's because of you. It's because of the listeners. It's because of those of you that tune in, that share, that listen, that comment, that like, that listen and are subscribed to the show. If you're not already subscribed to the show, but you're listening to this episode, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to the show so you are notified on your app every time there's a new episode and you can binge listen. So anyways, I was inside this group just a couple days ago. It's we meet twice a month, and it's with a podcast strategist. And essentially, we're talking to the different people inside this container, and everyone's like, hey, I'm on my 9th year in astrology. And I was like, okay, so how do we know what year we're in as far as our own personal astrology? So I put that into my chat GPT. I put in the current year and also the year I was born, 1989, and my birth date, April 5th. And it told me that I am in a 9th year. And so what that means, what a 9th year personally means in astrology, is that you are in a completion year. It means that you are completing karmic lessons, you're letting go of things that don't serve you, you're getting really honest with what works, what doesn't work. It's kind of like a year of evaluation and stripping away everything that is not you. And it's really challenging in a year 9 to cling to the old when something new wants to be birthed. And so when I checked that, I was like, wow, like a bunch of people inside this container that I'm in are all going through a 9th year. Not everyone's going through a 9th year. But then as far as I think it's Chinese astrology, I'm not 100% sure. Do not quote me on that. I didn't plan on talking about astrology today, but hey, it's coming up. Let's talk about it. Collectively, we're all in a snake year in 2025. And a snake year collectively is about shedding the old, and then year 1 is a new year, a new start for everyone. So collectively, we're going through a shedding year of releasing everything, old skins, old ways of being that aren't serving us, so that our new skin, our new rebirth, who we are becoming, can really be in the next phase, in the next year. But you might be going through a different year, and you're welcome to look that up on ChatGPT. You'll say, hey, what year, what personal year am I going through in astrology based on my birthday? Okay. So let me know how that goes for you. I'm curious what year you are personally in. Maybe you're in a 9th year. Maybe it's just felt like a 9th year for you, where you're like, things aren't working. I need to make some changes. So that's what I've been going through, and that's what a lot of people have been going through, and it's exciting, and it's also really uncomfortable, because the things that have worked in the past that have potentially brought you joy or have been your default settings of your go-tos maybe just aren't working anymore, and that's okay. But also it can be very destabilizing when you're like, well, this stuff used to work for me. This stuff used to bring me joy. This stuff used to fill in the blank. So love talking about this. So a lot of people were going through their 9th year, which again is about shedding, releasing, learning. It's about learning your new identity, learning what you have to let go of, which is not easy. It's easier said than done, but when we let go, we open up and we create space for what is new. So let's talk a little bit about wins, celebrating the wins. And sometimes the wins are also celebrating the shit. Like, oh my gosh, this shitty thing happened a few times this year, or I really went through it this year and it was really tough. There are always lessons no matter what, okay? No matter what you're going through, no matter what you're growing through, there are always lessons. And it's easy to just kind of be like, I had a dumbfire, shitty year and nothing is great and I feel shitty about myself. I mean, I had moments of that this year. I'm not going to lie, guys. Like I had moments of just like, I don't know what I want. I don't know where I'm going. Like, and I'm just going to, remove the veil on this. So I was on someone's podcast, I don't know, 3 years ago. And this tends to happen every few years for me. So maybe it's just like a personal thing, or maybe this is a collective thing. Maybe it's an entrepreneurial thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a creative thing. Maybe it resonates with you. Maybe it doesn't. If it does, comment on this episode and let me know. First of all, let me know what your personal astrology year is, because I want to know what's going on for you. But also let me know if this has happened to you, and if you're a creative or an entrepreneur, or you've been going through this, or you tend to go through this every few years, because I definitely do. So a few years ago, I was on a podcast, and there were these two guys that had me on their show, and they have a pretty big community of people. And I remember sitting at my apartment, on my couch, being interviewed by these two guys, and they're like, "So Deidre, what are you working on?" Like they wanted like this big, glamorous answer of everything I'm creating and doing. Because as an Aries, and just my personality, I like to know where I'm going, and I like to be really confident with where I'm going. I like certainty. All humans, we like certainty, and when things are not certain, it's not fun. Okay, even if you're well practiced at not being a certain human, it's not always fun, right? It can be fun, but then it's not fun. It can be like, oh my gosh, what's working? What's not working? So a few years ago, I actually talked about this in the past episode. So you might be like, oh, I feel like I've heard this story before. Or maybe you haven't. But anyways, I was on the show a few years ago, and I was kind of like in like, do I want to pivot what I'm offering? And I was kind of going through some, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to continue doing what I was doing or shift. And I was on this podcast, and the guys were like, "So what's next, Dee?" And I was just like radically honest. I was like, "Guys, like I'm not excited right now about anything. I don't know if I want to coach anymore." Like I was really in it. I was really in like probably a season, maybe a month of feeling like I don't know what I want to do. And anyways, that podcast episode went out. I actually didn't think they'd publish it because I felt like a Debbie Downer. I was just being really honest with where I was at. And coming from someone who's got a lot of external validation for things I've achieved, and it's been, probably something I've had to work on, being a high achiever and all the things, is I was like, I don't think that they're going to publish this episode, because it's just like, who wants to listen to this? Next thing you know, I'm bumping into someone in an elevator at an event I'm speaking at in Calgary. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're Deidre." And I was like, "Oh, are you coming to this event? Are you, going to the event that I'm about to speak at?" And she's like, "No, but I heard you on so-and-so's podcast." And like, oh my gosh, it was like the best episode I've ever heard, blah, 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 blah. And it was basically just me being like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing right now with my life. I'm not really sure if I want to continue this type of business, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short though, the lesson 3 years ago when I was in it was I just needed to have some better boundaries with a client of mine. And I had to let go of a client that wasn't serving me. And then I got my zest back. And I talk more about this in boundaries and all of that in a past episode. You can look that up if you want to really go into the story. But the thing is, like, authenticity always wins. And, I understand as leaders, as those of us that are like putting our message out there, that are like, entrepreneurs, all the things, we want to like, bring positive energy to things. And I think that's important. Being responsible for our energy is everything. But also being authentic is just as important, and actually is a higher vibration than joy. I'm pretty sure it's higher vibration than joy. I was looking at a vibration list recently as far as like energetic vibration, and the highest vibration, guys, the highest vibration frequency on it is authenticity. is authenticity. I'm going to see if I can find that and add a link or something to the show notes so you can see exactly where it is. But I'm pretty sure authenticity was the highest vibration. There might have been one above it, but it was like one of the top vibrations. So what does that mean? Sharing where you're at, being radically honest with your experience of what's going on is actually the most freaking magnetic thing you can do. Even if it doesn't feel that way, even if you think that you have to perform or be a certain way. So got a lot of great feedback from that podcast, but I remember being like, oh my gosh, they're not going to even air this episode I was on because I was like in it. So if you're in it right now, maybe you need better boundaries in your life with relationships like I did a few years ago at that time that I was feeling kind of energetically drained. Or maybe you are in a shift year, you're in a clearing year, you're in a letting go year, you're in a year 9 or collective year 9 for, collectively in the collective. And it's okay to not have it all figured out. I definitely have had moments this year where I've been like, I don't really have it figured out. I don't really know what I'm doing. And what I mean by that, and this is interesting because a lot of people don't want to be authentic on their platforms or in general with their audience and externally because they're like, well, if I'm authentic, I'm going to lose credibility. Not really. You're not really going to lose credibility because you still achieved and done things that your audience and people want to achieve. I still have a business that is successful. I've still, done all of these things internationally. I've still done X, Y, Z, and I've figured out a lot of things in a lot of areas of my life, but I'm just in a season. And you might just be in a season of like figuring some things out, and that is okay. It does not take away your credibility. It actually creates more connection with your audience. Okay. So authenticity is one of the best things that we can do. And a lot of the time when people are going through hard times, they want to hide. I was in a conversation recently with a client of mine that wants to hide. She's going through a season. And I was like, girl, like there is nothing wrong with you. You're just in a season and you can lean into this and still continue to grow and expand and step into who you are, even when this shit's coming up. And I think that's a huge blocker that comes up with so many of us, high performers or not, or entrepreneurs or not, is when we're not in a great place, we don't feel like it's okay to be in the spotlight. We actually don't want to be seen. It's kind of a survival mechanism that we have is like, let's hide, let's not celebrate, let's go into a shell and binge watch Netflix. Let's not do the things that we need to do because it's not okay to feel this way and be out there. Bullshit. It's more comfortable to hide 100%. And, shrinking, holding back your light, holding back your truth, not knowing what your truth is when you're in a funky place. All of those things are normal, but you can still show up regardless of what season you're going through. And what I really love about the people that I work with inside of my container Speak Impact Scale and my one-to-one coaching is a lot of my clients are going through real life stuff and still growing their business and still putting themselves out there and still pursuing their movement. You can be going through hard things and moving things forward. So let's get back to 2025. Maybe it's been a dumpfire year for you, dumpster fire year. I've never really used that before, so it's funny that I'm saying that. But hey, we're saying it. Or maybe it's been a really powerful year for you. And regardless, whether it's been like I didn't really love this year so much, or oh my gosh, it was amazing. Gold stars, I did all the things. It's important to do a review. It's really important for me every year to do a review of like, how has this last year gone? What's gone well? What hasn't gone well? What did I learn? And there's lessons in all of it. I was sharing the story about me being on that podcast and me sharing like kind of what I was going through with these two guys that were like really interested in hearing about my next level, right? And I'm kind of like being a little sarcastic and cheeky there. And I was like, I don't know what my next level is. I don't even know if I want a next level, right? The lesson that I had from that season, that, month or two season I was in was, first of all, I need to go traveling. I went to Mexico for a couple months, which I needed. I was running a retreat there for my mastermind and just needed to like get out of my environment. So that's nice. Sometimes we need to get out of our environment to have more perspective, right? And the second thing was I learned boundaries. I learned that, I'm not feeling good in my business because I have a couple energy leaks in my business with people I'm working with, and I need to clean that up. I need to have better boundaries. So those were some learnings that I had. And then I also learned that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be authentic on a podcast, and maybe they will still put it out there, and it can be really impactful and actually grow your audience, grow the people that love you and want to be a part of it. And it's interesting too, because that podcast that went out, which I didn't think they were going to air, just my own insecurities, my own ego at the time of, oh my gosh, I wasn't like motivational D, right? Was that led to a lot of great connections. But this one specifically, this woman owns a magazine, a national magazine, and has featured me in her magazine probably like 5 to 10 times, guys. And she recently talked about, I don't know if she was talking about having me on the cover of her magazine or doing like a multiple page spread of the magazine. But she's like, yeah, I want you to have like more real estate in my magazine because you're awesome. So that door opened because of that opportunity too. So there's always gifts in our stuff that happens in our seasons. And I think it's really important to acknowledge it. It's easy to not look at the wins. I am someone typically, and this my clients wouldn't know this because I'm like Miss Hype Girl. Okay, I'm Miss Hype Girl for everyone. Because I just really believe in everyone. But for myself, I can be really negative as far as like, I'm not naturally good at celebrating my wins, right? So I'll hit a milestone. I'm like, okay, next. Did my, international best-selling book. Next, sold, over 1,000 copies. Next, like I just have always been the next girl. Like, what's next for me? And although I love that about myself, I actually don't always love that about myself because there's always something that I need to be working on next. It's a personality thing, and maybe you can relate to that, or maybe you can't. But I think that it's so important to acknowledge our wins. So I'm going to give you some homework, my friends, and maybe you just have like a piece of paper naturally in front of you and a pen and you're ready to rock and roll. I want you to write down what are some wins that you've had in 2025. And hey, it'd be really cool. It'd be so cool if after listening to this podcast, you write it down and then you go and you write a review or you leave a comment on the platform that you're listening from and you write down what some of your wins were from 2025. And you let me know potentially what personal astrology year you're in, or if you had a dumpster fire year or an amazing year. Okay, I want to hear from you. I want to know. And I'd love for you to comment and share it with me. I love being more interactive with the audience, with you guys. It means so much. So what are some personal wins you've had? Your year can't be all bad. Even if a lot of not great things happen, I'm sure there's a gift in it. There always is a gift. Or maybe you've had a really great year, but there's one area that, didn't really go well, and that's all you're focusing on. Focus on the wins, focus on the growth, focus on the learnings. So with that, I want to share some of the wins and also some of the personal learnings that I've had in 2025. And yeah, I just really want to share this with you because I think it's important that I share this publicly with you. And this wouldn't have been possible if I didn't make a decision. And I want to talk about decision making for a second, because when you make a decision to do something, and you rip off the Band-Aid, huge things can happen 12 months, 10 months, 6 months, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now when we say yes to something. And so about a year ago, I was at an event. I was at Lori Harder's event in Arizona. And I was watching her on stage. She's lovely. She's actually was one of my mentors this year. And I was like, oh, she's doing amazing things. She runs women's events like me, all these things. What's the difference between her and me? Well, first of all, she's about 10 years older than me. So she has about a decade in the industry, more than I do. So that's significant. 10 more years makes a huge difference. But she's also been really consistent with her podcast. And I remember seeing her and being like, okay, I'm going to commit to my podcast. I'm going to launch a new podcast. And I'm going to be consistent with it, not just for a year, because I've done that before. I've had other shows in the past. I started my very first show like 7-8 years ago, guys, but I didn't really know the value of it. So I did it for a year, and then I was like, oh, that was fun. Made a bunch of contacts and continue to do my thing. But this time I was like, no, I'm going to launch a podcast, the one that you're listening to right now, and I'm going to be consistent with it for years, every single week, no matter what. No matter what. Doesn't matter. There's going to be a podcast coming out every single week. So I ripped off the Band-Aid, and I think I launched it in January or February. I'd have to check, right? It's almost been a full year, which is exciting. Maybe you've been on the journey since this show started. Maybe you just jumped in wherever you are. Appreciate that you're listening and that you're here. How cool is that? And so launch the show. We have ranked in the top 10% of podcasts globally. Okay. So that is because I made a decision. I made a decision to do the podcast, to be consistent long-term and also within the year. And because of that, we've ranked in the top 10%. So I just want to take a moment to celebrate that and also celebrate you for being on the journey of the first year of this show that I'm going to continue in the upcoming years and refine and make better so that it's the best show for you. The second thing I want to celebrate with this show specifically, which really is a thank you to you, the listener, is we are in the top 93%. So actually, I said that wrong. From this show, I've got more comments and engagement, more comments than 93% of all other podcasts. So what that means, we're in the top 7% globally for comments on this show. So that is thanks to you. That is thanks to the listeners. That's thanks for you for commenting, for liking, for sharing, your wins, your insights, whatever's coming up on whatever platform you're listening from, with leaving reviews. So thank you for that. Thank you for showing up and engaging. That means so much to me. And this is really just the first year of the program. Or the podcast. And then the next thing that I really want to talk about is we've had more shares on the show than 83% of other podcasts, which is super, super cool. So it means that you guys are sharing and liking this show, which I really appreciate. And then the next stat that I recently got from the platform that I've been plugging this podcast into is we have been streamed in 9 countries. Pretty cool. Here are the top 5 countries that they listed. So us Canadians, I appreciate you Canadians. We have people from the US, the United States. Hi guys. Hi our neighbors. We've got South Africa, Germany, and Australia. So how cool is it that we have 9 countries listening to this podcast? Thank you guys so much for doing that. And so those are some of the personal wins I've had this year with the show, and I wanted to celebrate it with you, the listeners, because you guys are really what makes this happen, and every time I see more people downloading the show and subscribing, it means so much. So on that note, if you are listening to the show right now, but you haven't subscribed on the platform you're listening from, maybe it's Spotify, maybe it's iTunes, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's another one of the streams, I would really love and invite you to press subscribe or to follow so that you get all of the notifications every single week that a new episode drops. We also received one of the most binge-worthy podcasts for 2025, which means a lot of you like to listen to 2 or 3 episodes at a time. That's my style too. I love that. I appreciate you guys. And I really want to invite you into taking some time right now to reflect on your 2025 and write down what are some of the lessons, what are some of the wins, what are the things that have been really showing you and teaching you things about what works well for you, what doesn't. And I love to hear from you in the comments in the show, whether you are posting a review and sharing it publicly or on the platform you are listening from. So thank you, every single one of you, for listening, for sharing, for engaging in the show. It means so much to me. And I also want to put this out there for you. Is there something that you really want to step into in 2026 that maybe you've been putting on the back burner? It's like, ooh, I want to speak on stages. Ooh, I want to write that book. Ooh, I want to start the business. Ooh, I want to move. What is the thing that is for you that you are really feeling called to step into for 2026? One of my goals for 2026 is to get this podcast to the top 1% globally. Okay. So that is one of the goals for the show. I also have a couple books that I've been writing that I am going to be launching in 2026 and a couple in-person events. So that is exciting for me. I'd love to hear what some of your 2026 goals are, what you like to move forward with. And then I also want to just share on this platform that if you are listening and you are a woman who is a coach, a leader, a facilitator, you're in the transformational space or you want to be, and you're like, hey, I want to get on more platforms. I want to get on stages. I want to get on different platforms to start practicing to get visible. I have an incredible event coming up. It's called the Awakening Her Festival. This is an online festival that I hosted last year online. I also do in-person events. That's called the Awakening Her Summit or the Awakening Her Experience. This is the Awakening Her Festival. And I'm hosting it from January 5th to January 18th. Super exciting. Last year, we had 28 incredible speakers, and we had about 1,300 people sign up to participate in the talks and the workshops, which is something I absolutely love. This is something that is free for attendees. So maybe this is something that you're like, hey, I want to sign up for as an attendee. The landing page for attendees is not up yet, but what I do have open right now is a speaker application page. And this speaker application page is going to be open for about 8 more days. I am accepting speaker applications for those of you that are like, hey, I want to get on a platform. I want to share my gifts. I want to put myself out there. And I want to start dipping my toes into speaking. And this is a great space for new speakers to start to gain traction, to start to gain visibility. And also, if you are an experienced speaker who already speaks, it's still a great platform for you. So I'm going to drop the link for the speaker application for those of you that are interested in potentially getting on this platform and growing your audience and sharing your gifts with you so that you can apply. But make sure to apply within the next 8 days, as the doors will be closing. And once you apply and you put your information in, we will get in touch with you within 24 hours and let you know if you've been selected as a speaker for our upcoming festival in January of 2026. All right, my friends, thank you so much for listening to the show. If you haven't already, please leave a review and please subscribe. It means so much to me. I hope that you have a beautiful week, and I can't wait to hear what astrological, I can't even say that right. I can't wait to hear what astrology, what year you're in personally. Is it a 9 year? Is it a 7 year? Is it a 1 year? I want to hear how your last year has been and what your goals are. Please share them in the comments, or leave us a review, and share this episode with your friends and your community. Big love. Mwah.